This is part of a series of videos. Check the playlist in the cards or the description to find the others. If you spot some extra logic that you're not sure about in the video, don't worry, anything important to this tutorial will be explained. Normally you'd build this stuff wherever it is you want it to show. So if you want at the bottom, you'll build it at the bottom. And you could do stuff like move all these down and kind of line them up. Take a long time to line them up and it should still work, but it's like very tedious, especially if it's a complex bit of UI. So the alternative is to put it in scene and then put that into a head tracker. Let's look through the head, and now I can just do that if I want it to be at the bottom. Yeah, and now it's like in the bottom middle instead. So that's the easiest way to make something that other people can use but be able to position in different places, is to just make it able to go in scene. So as the last thing, I'll try and adapt this to work in the scene. It might just work, but it very well could not work. So let's find out. Let's just have a keyframe to, let's just do one at a time. So let's make this in scene. Okay. And turn on that keyframe. And yeah, so that part is working. Question is, will this work? I think that's not working because it was made after or before or something. So if I copy this and delete that, now we can see the highlight. This is to do with if it's in the scene, you don't have this sorting setting, but it does sort it if they're in the same exact position. It will sort it by the one that was made first, like the oldest gadget in this position will be rendered first, and that's the bar, and then the newer one, which is the highlight, will be rendered second. You'll be able to see it on top of the bar, even from the back and stuff. So yeah, now let's try making this background in scene, so that works too, and then on the white bar, so let's tweak that to be in the scene. So that was made last, that's why it's on top of everything. We want these two to be on top, so I'll copy them and delete the old ones. And remember, the keyframes will hook themselves up again when you make a copy, so that's fine. So now does this work? It does. Cool. So that whole thing just works now in the scene. And because it's in the scene, you can like move it around and turn it around. And you can put it in a character. Let's put it in a character quick. And just stick it in there. And it's got to be over here. It's really wide. So now when I run around, it's just stuck to my head. Yay! If you want this to face the camera though, we'd want something like teleporter that affects this chip and changes its orientation. So first we make it affect the chip with this affected objects output, wire it in there, and it actually hooks onto the side of the window, but it's wiring into like that thing there. And we don't want to match position, just the orientation of a tag in the head tracker. So a head tracker just moves with the camera. Whatever view the player has, it will be there. So if we have a tag in there, then that tag will match the view of the player. So I'll call it view and have this match view. And now if I play time and change the orientation of this, the UI will also change the orientation. So it always looks about right. You kind of get a bit of motion blur to it because now it's in the scene. But you can use a grade gadget and turn motion blur down. And now you won't get that. It'll just look like an ordinary part of the scene. And there's a tiny bit of lag because of how tags work with the head tracker. But it'll work. Oh look, it's not following the thing. That's because we are teleporting and now it doesn't really care about groups. So we want it to follow this character. So let's just have a tag in there. Instead of doing it on the chip, we'll do it on the whole group. So if we make a sculpt and then group it with the chip, we can teleport that whole group instead. So surface snap that to the group and move the gizmo. Let's just put the tag somewhere useful and put the gizmo at the same spot. And then give the tag a name of player. And then in the teleporter, match that position. And that will take care of the position part. And then just shuffle that over and have a second teleporter to match the orientation of that view tag we have. But we need the gizmos of both of the teleporters to be in exactly the same spot so it works properly. So I'll just move those around on the grid so we can get them to the same spot. And drag the orientation gizmo as well. And now it's using the orientation of the view and it's moving with the player properly. And we can make the block non-collidable and invisible. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something interesting. Go to patreon.com/TAPgiles to learn something new every day.